to write columns for the San Antonio Express News back in the day. And after 9/11, I was censured. And this happened around the country in many different faces. But it happened because there were, whenever journalists were speaking out against the war, beginning with the invasion of Afghanistan, and then of course into Iraq, and all the issues related to that. And I mean, there were journalists much more prominent than me who were censured, fired. The reason I say that is there used to be a time, some of you are too young to remember, but there used to be a time around the country, it sounds like a fairy tale now, when most cities had 2 papers, 3, 4. When I was growing up, the radio stations, especially the Spanish language stations, had an hour for interviews and news discussions. So there was a time when media had what you would call a real musicality, a real diversity to the stories of the day. What you're getting now is, of course, I think you know, corporate media. You're not getting the stories told in a balanced, not even close, balanced way that explore the many sides to a story, what we call in journalism context, history. And what happens is that it makes this city poorer. It makes it less educated. It criminalizes people. A lot of that happens. I proposed to the Express News a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, that they do a whole series, for example, this is just one thing they could do, where you compare 2 school districts, somebody from students in an Edgewood classroom and students in Alamo Heights. Simple. And you cover the story, what these students are learning, what they go through. They wouldn't do it. They won't do it. The newspapers and television and radio, except for public radio, which is also changed, are about making money. That's all. I disagree about community access and commercial media. After Reagan, you see, we live in a democracy, or supposedly we live in a democracy. You must understand, we are not supposed to have corporate media. We are not. The media out there should reflect your points of view. We're trying to go around it. And in fact, very well, if we handle it in a sophisticated and organized way, we may very well get our views across. But that does not take away from the fact that the San Antonio Express News does not tell the Muslim story. You know, it does not. Even public radio. I used to do commentaries for National Public Radio. I can't get my commentaries in local public radio station here. Now, just public access TV, on the other hand, is not enough. It's very good that we participate and we can strengthen it. But faith-based participation was not supposed to be part of it. And when you have too much faith-based, of course, it takes away from the diversity of perspective. DN has been working with, I think, Rebecca and other people with World Can't Wait, and I think that's the group. And they have been amassing or clipping all these stories over like a month's period to demonstrate to the community, to San Antonio, how biased certain stories are. If you've been following the water story today, I did see the Sunday story about how the water's drying up, you know, in the Panhandle, actually where I grew up. Well, years ago when we were fighting over the PGA issue, I talked about that to the media. They didn't listen. I told them we're sitting on top of the world's 2nd largest aquifer. Water is the next petroleum. There were stories about that all over the world. But people here did not know. So they kept on supporting a golf resort that was going to endanger the water and take the water. That's the problem with media. The library, of course, should not be censoring anybody. And certainly I will put it on my blog. That's very important. But it sets a very dark tone to San Antonio. Recently, you remember, the incarnate word librarian decided, porque se le puso, that he was going to ban the New York Times, please, from, the library there. That's unconscionable in a democracy. It's illegal. I know it's illegal. So we, again, perhaps this means that we have to start as media producers, as writers, we have to organize ourselves in a way where we link up so that I only get so many hits right now. Patsy gets more, so that we organize and actually tell our readers, about what's going on, and then also force the media to tell a story, so that we change the institutions and we keep the little democracy we have left.